Welcome to How to Decorate from Ballard Designs, a weekly podcast all about the trials and triumphs of decorating and redecorating your home. I'm Caroline. I'm on the marketing team.
And I'm Taryn, and I'm a product designer.
I'm Liz. I head up the creative team.
We're your hosts. Join the expert team at Ballard Designs for tips, tricks, and tales from interior designers, stylists, and other talents in the design world.
Plus, we'll answer your decorating dilemmas at the end of each episode.
We love answering your questions, so don't forget to email us at podcast@ballarddesigns.net.
Now, on with the show. Welcome back to the show. I'm Caroline, and we've got Liz here. Liz, say hi. And okay, I mentioned a couple episodes ago that Taryn is going to be out for a little while. She is okay. But while she's gone, we're going to have some new Ballard voices. So today we have Nakyrna Milner. Okay. She is an assistant merchant for accessories and lighting. Mm-hmm. She has a background in fashion merchandising. She sews. She's wildly creative. You have impeccable taste.
She knows just about everything Ballard.
That is true, yes. Wealth of knowledge.
Thank you.
So, yes, welcome to the show. And then our guest today is Olivia Westbrooks. She is an award-winning Atlanta designer with multiple ASID awards. She is also an artist. We recently did a house tour with you, which... If you haven't, I don't know if it's up yet. If it's not, then be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get a notification when it goes live. You have over 20 years of experience in interior design and in construction, and you just shot and launched your television show with Hallmark Plus.
Yes.
So it's called Home is Where the Heart Is. You and the host, Luke McFarlane, help families create homes with heart. You can stream it now on the Hallmark Plus app. So we're going to talk all about it.
It's funny hearing that back. It's like my life flashing in front of my eyes. Like, how did I get here? There we go.
I had to really trim it down. So there was much more to include. But yes.
Thank you.
Well, I just so enjoyed our house tour that we shot together and our conversation. You had so much great insight and are so good at explaining why you do the things you do. And so I'm really excited for our audience to get to know you.
I am too. This is my first podcast about design.
Same.
Yeah. Or in general, I did one with a friend before, but like, this is fun. I'm a podcast junkie, so.
Oh, really?
I am. Yeah. So this is great.
Well,
I'm excited.
We keep it casual and conversational. So I think we, though, have to start with your television show, Home is Where the Heart Is. What a unique experience. How did that all come about? And then now that it's all live and everyone's seen it, how are you feeling?
Okay, let's see. Let's unpack that, right? How did it come about? I got an email. It was as simple as that. You know, I'm a big believer in what is for your journey is for your journey, and in divine timing. Mm-hmm. And, you know, in Atlanta, stuff is filmed here all the time. And so I would get casting emails here and there, but it would be like, we need a designer in Tennessee to work on whatever the project is. I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't fit. And I would get things like that and just hit delete. I think I just started like automatically deleting things after a while. And that one came through in my inbox, and it was vague enough to keep me interested. Mm-hmm. I was like, wonder what this is about. Mm-hmm. And right around that time, I decided to hire a PR manager to help get my name out there, because I'd been in my business at that point for 3 years. And I had tried to go about it myself to get myself in front of editors, in front of the Atlanta design community, and was not making a whole lot of headway. So I needed some help. And my PR manager just landed in my DMs. Like, these people, like, these things are just landing in inboxes.
Amazing.
I know. Yeah. Right? That's what I said. Like, you just have to trust.
It means it's for you.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so she and I started working together, and I said, well, your first order of business, take a look at this email and let me know if this is real. And so she called and got information about it and came back and told me about the show. And I immediately got like goosebumps, and the hairs on my arm started to raise. And I was like, oh my God, this sounds so great. Because the fall prior to receiving that email, I was in a situation where my siblings and I had to sell our childhood home. And it was incredibly heartbreaking. I remember sitting at the closing table with my dad, and both of us are like fighting back tears. And the investor across the table was so excited. She was talking about all the changes she would make to the house. And I'm like,
you don't want to hear that.
You know?
Yeah.
So when I found out the premise of the show, which was about helping families who either inherited a family home or they went back and purchased a childhood home or they wanted to start a legacy home. It's all about family and home. I said, you know what? Maybe I wasn't able to do this for me, but being a part of being able to do this for somebody else meant everything to me.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so I said, call them back. I want to talk to them about it. And I just went through the interview process, the whole sizzle reel thing. Had to do a chemistry test with my co-host to make sure that we vibed. And the rest is history. Yeah.
Love.
And now it's on TV. We have 6 episodes out there and it's being received really well. And I mean, I couldn't be happier, really. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's exciting.
I love it.
Because it's kind of as much about their emotional journey as it is the process of designing and updating the house. So I loved that element of it because it kind of adds that twist. There's so many design shows and that makes it unique.
Yeah. It's definitely focused on the family story and what makes the home special to each person. What memories did they hold when they lived there or they spent time there? And then we lean into those stories to develop our design. We start there with the inspiration. So we say, it's a show, it's a renovation show with heart. And it really is more so about the family and then with pretty design on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How incredible, though, too, because I think about my childhood home and there would be things that I would need to change if I were to move into it today, but I wouldn't know where to even start because my heart and my memories are so attached to the layout.
Right. Yeah, the layout, even some of the finishes that are in there.
Yeah.
Like before the closing, I went to our house to say goodbye, and I walked through and I took pictures of things that I really loved. And there was this like butter yellow double oven, like wall oven, because the house was built in the 70s. And I was thinking, if it still worked, like I would keep that. It's vintage. People are putting new ovens that look like that now to try to recreate
all those Le Corneau.
To have a nostalgic moment.
Right?
Exactly. So we help them make those decisions. What are you emotionally attached to? How can we salvage it? Or if we can't, how can we recreate it or reimagine it in a new way that still gives you those same feels?
Yeah.
So it was fun. It definitely made me work a different part of my brain than I'm used to working in my business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the actual like shooting process? What was that like? How long was it? Did you shoot it in the order that it airs? No, the lineup is a little different now than the way we shot it. Not too far off. It was by far the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire career.
Really?
Yes.
What about it?
Because you take the design process, which we all know can last months. Years.
Yeah.
Depending on the
Months
project.
If you're lucky.
So how condensed was this one?
And we're condensing it down. I designed 12 spaces in 10 days.
Oh my gosh.
10 days before I had to get on camera. And then we shot it in 5 weeks.
Jeez.
Wait, wow.
When did you sign?
Wow.
It was nuts. Yeah.
I
didn't know what was up and what was down and what day it was. And but you know what? It pushed me to my limits and it showed me what I was capable of doing.
Yeah.
So now when something difficult comes along, I'm like,
that's nothing.
I've had 2 kids and I've shot a design show in July, or it was August in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
Like, I think I can handle.
You're good.
Wow. And you look great too. Yeah. Gosh, because y'all are out there. You're like doing actual work too. You're doing some manual labor in the show.
We are in it, and like it's not. Some of it, of course, is for the camera. We need B-roll. You all know. Put a show together. But Luke was in there making the things. He's a master woodworker. Yeah. I'm in there painting and creating custom artwork. And both of us really love to get our hands dirty. So we didn't mind doing that part.
Yeah.
What was extra challenging about it is while I'm on camera, not only putting the designs together and also continuing to design the episodes that are upcoming while I'm on camera. I'm running my business at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a headache for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in the midst of To Live and Dine at ADAC, and then the Serenbe Show House followed it right after. Yeah, so it was a crazy time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, I think I got more grace
How
during that.
I can't even process keeping track of, let alone like your own projects, but all of those houses together and keeping track of all of the details.
Yeah, it was nuts. But you know what? I had a good team on both sides. Nice. I don't do anything alone. Nice. I have a wonderful senior designer, Christine Bilwach. Shout out to her. She'll appreciate that. Who held the office down while I was out. And she and I have worked together now for a really long time. So I knew that everything was in good hands. And then on the show, I mean, we have a crew. Right. Yeah. It's not just me. We have our art director was amazing, Josh, and Julie. They were awesome and super helpful. So I had help. You know. Yeah. And so it was still a lot of work. Yeah. But teamwork makes the dream work. And that's what we had to lean into. Mm-hmm.
Would you want to do it again?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's like having a baby. Yeah. You know, you after the baby's birth, you have this cute little thing and you forget about all the, you know, back pains and indigestion and I can't put on my shoes, you know, the labor. You forget about all of that because you have this beautiful baby in front of you. And that's where we are right now. We have this beautiful baby in front of us. Mm-hmm. And so if you ask me again, I'm like, yeah. And then when I get into it, I'll be like, why did I do this to myself?
And 5 weeks is a long time, you know, with that type of schedule. Like if you're to sustain that level of, you know, just activity and
long days
for 5 weeks is a long time.
Yeah. But you know, if I can understand where the light is at the end of the tunnel, then I can prepare myself to make it through that challenging time. And God bless my husband, y'all. When we talk about teamwork makes the dream work. Because our shooting schedule was Wednesday through Sunday, and the kids were in school.
Yeah.
So he really had to hold it down. At home, I barely saw my children at that time. Oh. I know. It was, but I said, you know what? It's for 5 weeks. Yeah. It's for 5 weeks.
Right.
A little sacrifice.
Yes. Just that period of time, and this will be done, and then we can be together, and I will have done this like amazing thing that we put out into the world and is bringing people joy and helping improve people's lives. So,
what do your kids think about the show?
I was about that.
So I have 2 daughters. Maya's 11, Morgan's 8. Maya's my very sweet, empathetic, people-loving artist of a person.
Good.
She thinks it's amazing. And anytime I mention like my daughters or her, she goes, I'm famous now.
She is.
She's like, Mommy, I'm famous. I said, okay, girl. Yes, you are. My 8-year-old is very critical of everything. You know, Mom, why are you standing like that? Why is your skirt so big? You know, like, she's hilarious. She keeps me grounded.
She has to. That's her job.
That's her job.
You take care of her, but she takes care of you.
That's right. She makes sure that my head doesn't get too big and my feet stay on the ground. So it's just funny.
Yeah.
How opposite they are.
I love it.
Your kids are never as impressed with you as they are with others, right?
No, I mean, you're mom.
Yeah.
We have to raise y'all, you know? Like the shoe gets on the other foot once they turn about 5 years old.
Oh, of
we
course.
have to raise y'all.
Yes.
You know? Y'all don't know no better. So.
They know nothing.
Exactly.
They know everything.
I'm happy you get it.
Absolutely, especially with that 8-year-old. She is something else.
What about the design during the show? Do you feel like it pushed you? Did you feel like you got to stay true to your aesthetic and what you would do for like a client?
You know, I got to do more. I feel like I had more creative flexibility with the show than I do in my own practice. Yeah, I mean, the families that we worked with told us what they wanted to see, but also understood that we had a lot of creative liberty with the show. And it was intentional with the design of the show that we wanted to make sure we used a lot of color. We wanted it to be different in that way because we felt like a lot of the design shows on TV now, it's pretty
your beiges.
It's pretty one note. It's pretty monotone. There's a lot of neutrals, a lot of textures. What's been in style for the last decade or so. We wanted this show to feel joyful. Yes, from the story perspective, but also from the design perspective. And so every single house was different. I don't know if you watch, but like we have one Victorian inspired episode. We have one 70s inspired episode. We have a farmhouse. We have a lake house, and we get a little kitschy with it. And that's fun. Like I like getting a little kitschy.
You might as well have fun.
Lean into it. Yeah. So, there were some things that bled over from what I do in my business and then what I did on the show. I still like things to look, pretty clean and tailored and all. But I mean, I got to have fun with color. I did.
Yeah.
I got to have fun with pattern.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
It was always fun to watch those scenes where you're trying to decide on which shade of blue to use. And I'm sitting here, I'm trying to watch it and say, oh, you need to go with this blue because of X, Y, Z. And you go with a different blue. And I'm like, I'm happy she went with that blue instead of the blue that I said. But I watched the show this week. I finished the whole all 8 episodes. I think there were total.
There's 6.
Ooh,
there's
what
6
was I watching?
There's 6 and there's a bonus episode.
The bonus episode at the end.
Where we're just talking like behind the scenes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved the show. It was, and I think I love to see the color because even just here working here, we're very, we believe in color at Ballard.
Yeah.
So it was so nice to see someone else, an interior designer who actually takes that same approach to their designs because like you said, it does get very monotonous all the time. Even, show houses that we'll go to, like we went to one earlier this morning. It was beautiful, but they did play with color a little bit, but it was still just your safer colors, your neutral tones, you add the texture. But I love just like that visual eye-catching, here's a blue and that's what you're going to love.
And it's a blue,
It's a blue, an electric blue.
Yeah. So the design part of it was a collaboration with the production team, with the creator of the show. She had a vision and I wanted to make sure that her vision came across on camera too. So I would do a design and send it to her and she would be like, more saturation.
Oh,
and I'd be like,
really?
okay, let's do it. Well, because like I said, so much of the last few years has been neutral. And when clients come, they want to play it safe. It's a big investment. They're afraid to spend too much money on something that they may not love in 5 years. What the show really did was it taught me to push my clients and tell them, who cares about resale?
Yeah.
Are you building this to sell this house in the next 10, 15, 20 years? And if not, then who cares about that?
Yeah.
If you love purple,
go do it.
Let's do a purple sofa. You're going to love it every time you see it. So stop worrying so much about what the trends are.
Yeah.
Right.
Lean into what it is that makes you feel good. You feel special. You love your space.
Yeah.
You feel like you belong in this space.
Yeah.
That's really what this show encouraged me to do in my own practice.
Yeah.
That I can say I probably wasn't doing before. Not as much.
Yeah.
Oh, you want neutrals? Sure, I'll give you a neutral space.
Yeah.
I got bored, to be honest. Like this show was very refreshing for me. Yeah.
Together. Is that difficult when you are working with clients that seem very set in one direction, but you kind of want to push them away from just all the trends that you've seen everywhere? Is it difficult ever kind of changing your client's mind or pushing them?
I've arrived at this, and I tell this to my clients all the time. At the end of the day, when this project is over, I'm going to my house and you will have to live here.
Right.
So if you really feel strongly about this, even though I'm giving you my design opinion that's different from what you want to see, if you feel strongly about this and that's going to make you happy, that's fine.
Right.
That's fine with me. I'm not going to impose what I want to see on the house. It's Olivia Westbrooks that you're hiring, but Olivia Westbrooks is not going to live in this house once I'm gone. Now, if it's something I know is going to be a major mistake, because I've done it in the past, I will educate them on why I feel that's not the best decision and why we need to move forward with this. But I pick and choose my battles with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if they love it, then they're not going to want to get rid of it. Like,
Right.
that's the thing that I
Right.
always felt. Like, if you love the purple room that you're talking about, then, like, you're not going to want to part with it. So why? That's going to give it the more longevity than committing to something that's sort of like wishy-washy that you just feel like is safe.
Right.
Completely.
Because then you never really liked it in the first place.
Yeah.
Completely.
And they'll get in there and be like, it just doesn't feel quite right. I know, because it's not what you wanted.
Yeah, it's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they've hired you and like you're the one that is helping them guide them toward the correct guide or like the correct design choice, then that's the like sort of insurance that it's going to work, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
they're not just making a decision for a purple room. They've got help. They've got a professional. So
Exactly. Who will tell you? But I had a very I was in LA last week or a week before. What week am I in? I don't even know anymore. For a press tour, and I went to a party and struck up a conversation with a designer, and she said, you have to tell them what's right for them. Because a lot of people, they hire you because they don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they are going to play it
Right.
safe for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And so it does become our responsibility as designers to push them a little bit. I think earlier in my career, especially when I started my business, I was afraid to do that because if they hated it, I felt like I was going to have to replace
Like it was your fault.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or they would have something bad to say about me. But, as time has gone on and I've gained more experience, I really just had to learn to be confident in my experience and in my education and stand firm and say, no, that's not, trust me, that's not what you want to do. You're going to call me in 6 months and want me to replace it,
Yeah.
Whereas maybe 3 years ago or 10 years ago, however many years ago, I've been doing this for 20 years, I wouldn't have felt as comfortable doing that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I will say, you do decorate with neutrals beautifully.
Well, thank you.
Because the space that we saw in our house tour was so well done, so like sleek, but had so much texture and dimension. It was not boring. And I also just loved all of the insight you offered in the house tour about decorating with neutrals for anyone who does. So you can also do neutrals, and
I can.
It still looks really good.
And neutrals are classic.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak so badly about neutrals. I appreciate them and I love them. I also love a good colorful room.
Yeah.
I love a good, even in our neutral spaces, we will have some sort of accents of color in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at me. I love a bright color, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but one of the things that you talk about in the home tour, and I encourage everybody to go watch it, but you talk about there being underlying colors and tones within the neutrals and how to play those both, with each other and then against each other to kind of make them pop. And I think that that's just a really wonderful way to think about neutrals too.
Yeah. I mean, every color has an undertone. I don't know how deep you want to get into it now. We want to encourage people to watch the home tour, right? So that they learn all of this. But I'm also an artist. Have been drawing and creating things my entire life. Like I obsessed over Bob Ross when I was young. I would get up,
gotta love them.
turn on PBS. And watch him paint happy little trees. All of it.
Little clouds, little trees. All of it.
Let's paint a squirrel and give him a friend. I adored him. I've watched all the documentaries about him. I dressed up as him for Halloween one year.
I need pictures.
I think it's somewhere in my Instagram. I know it is. And so my love, there was this cartoon. I was thinking about this the other day. Oh my gosh. It wasn't a cartoon. It was a kid's show. And it was called Pappy Druid. Have y'all heard of Pappy Druid?
No, but I bet I'd need to watch it. Or
I can sing the theme song. That's how much I used to watch it. But it was a show about this man. He dressed like a lumberjack, and his set was like a forest, and he had all these animal friends. And at some portion in the show, he would draw. He would just draw a squirrel eating an acorn or whatever the theme of the day was. And I was just mesmerized by it. So all this to say is I've loved art my entire life. And so when you hear me talk about undertones, and that's my artist eye, looking at it and learning what colors, what do you pair with a blue to make it vibrant? Well, you pair the opposite color, which would be orange, right? The complementary color on the color wheel. I loved color theory in design school. It was my favorite. So I could talk about this all day. We can be stuck here for another hour talking about color theory. But yes, there are tricks to make neutrals pop and to make neutrals interesting. And it does have a lot to do with color theory and texture. Love texture. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Can we play like a game?
Yeah.
I want to, a color theory game.
Oh, let's go.
Sorry,
okay.
this is really unscripted. We're just throwing this out here. No, okay, I'm going to name a color and I want you to tell me what color you would put with it.
Okay. Sure.
Just like fire it off. Don't have to think about it.
So what color I would, okay, let's go.
Do we need more rules? I don't know.
No.
Okay.
We'll make them up as we go.
All right, and y'all jump in. Okay. How about we start with ice blue?
Ice blue. Okay, so then my question would be, what are we going for? Are we going for a vibrant space? Or are we going for a more relaxed space? If we're going for more relaxed, then I like to stay within a monotone palette.
Okay.
And when I say that, I mean that you want to use colors that are adjacent to an icy blue that are within that family. So soft greens, of course, your ivories. I would go warmer on my neutrals because icy blue is very cool. And I find that when you pair cool colors with colors that are a little bit warmer, it does bring it to life a little bit more. So if I were to pair it with like an icy green or a bunch of cool colors, it feels restful, but sometimes it can fall a little flat. So I would put some brass in the room somewhere just to liven it up some. Purple. Shades of purple or plum would be beautiful. I'm looking at this painting right here. I can see some really beautiful plum colors with icy blue. So it depends on the mood that you're trying to set. Yeah. You can make it very cheerful and add some yellow in there.
Pretty.
Yeah. There's just so many different things you can do with color. I always get caught up on those questions. What would you use with this? Or
there's so many avenues you can go in.
Or people will ask, what color would you absolutely not use? I'm like,
all of them.
Open up the crayon box. I can't tell you that, you know?
Yeah, there's going to be a time and place for every color.
Exactly.
Okay, what Liz, you suggested color.
I'll do butter yellow.
Oh, the ovens.
I know, but like
the wall ovens.
What would you else pair with that?
So because I'm an LSU Tiger, I'm going to say purple. We get a little purple and gold going in there. Let's make a butter yellow and brassy, space. I could see it feeling very elegant and feminine. And, I love the way like Suzanne Kassler uses color, and even Melanie Turner uses color, where there's a neutral room and then there are just these bold like pops, these bold accents of color in a pillow or in a trim on a drapery or a shade. Butter yellow would be really pretty with orange, like a soft orange, if you were going for that like analogous color theme.
Analogous is side by side on the color wheel, right?
That's right. It's side by side. Yes. So if I say like plum or purple, that's complementary. It's on the other side of the color wheel. So when you put those two colors together, they vibrate and it pops more than if I were to put it next to a really pretty orange, right? Because those are within the same family.
I can see that.
Yeah. So then you really have to figure out which color you want to come forward.
Exactly.
Right?
Which color you want to come forward. And like I said, always start with the mood. What mood are we trying to set here?
Yeah.
That's the big one.
All right, your turn, and then we'll move on.
I think we were going down the same direction. I was going to say actually chartreuse, because I love chartreuse. I'm making a quilt now that has these little chartreuse pops in it, but I can't find fabric because I don't know what color I want to pair with it.
Really?
So putting you on the spot.
You are
design this quilt with some chartreuse, and it'll be for a baby.
Okay, again,
so we're kind of going a little pastel-y, a little, but still interesting.
Gender neutral, or are we leaning into a?
It ends up being more feminine. I think my quilts do.
I'm a pink girl. If you say feminine, chartreuse and pink are one of my favorite combinations together.
I think I've been leaning towards that. Even like a lavender.
Lavender would be gorgeous. I was looking at your sweater.
I know.
Yeah, because this is
here.
yellow. It's not as green as chartreuse, but I could see those two things. But then again, that's my purple and gold. I keep going back to it.
That's good.
The UGA in me is gonna cry. But I would never wear
okay. We're the SEC family.
We are. We are.
But would you take the pinks and purples that you pair with the chartreuse, and would you go a little bit more gray with those so that the chartreuse could pop forward, or would you go a little bit more pastel?
That's a really great question. Y'all know it does get challenging for me to answer questions like that because I am the type of person that likes to play around and experiment with things and see what feels right. It's always a feeling for me. That's how I design. I would say I'm more of an intuitive designer than anything. You certainly could, right? You certainly could go like a softer, grayer lavender pink and then let that chartreuse be the pop of color.
Yeah.
If I were to design Olivia's playroom, I would do hot pink with this shirt with chartreuse pillow, and it would be bright and bold.
Very
if you saw my To Live and Die space, you'd see how I like to play with color. So you certainly could. There's no one right way.
Yeah.
That's why these answers become so difficult. Or these questions become so difficult to answer because there's no.
You end up writing an essay almost
I could
instead of just
talk about it forever.
Yeah.
I will say it does kind of bring me to another question that I really wanted to ask you, just kind of speaking from a designer to designer kind of aspect, even though I'm making quilts, not entire rooms. How do you sort of when you know that all the possibilities are endless, when you know there's so many things you can do to a space, so many ways you can use different colors, how if you want to make one color, go in the background a little bit, another color pop. When you have so many options, how do you narrow that in? Because you might see something on Instagram one day, completely change your mind,
Right. I try not to get caught in that, and I try to tell my clients to not do that either. You have to stop at some point. Otherwise you can go on forever. For me, it's like I just said, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
It's literally a feeling. Like if I'm putting a fabric scheme together, I lay things out on the table and I wait to see what rests like.
Yeah.
I love I talk about all the chakras, but like in your solar plexus area, that's where your gut is. No, that's your sacral. See, I'm getting that wrong. It's down there, right around the belly button, right? The sacral is where your gut is, right? Your gut instincts. And so if it rests, if I feel at peace with it when I look at it, that's what I go with. That's the decision.
Yeah.
If I feel anxious or tense about it, or I even learned this when I was working in construction and I would try to pick out grout colors to see what would blend. I squint or I cross my eyes.
Yes. Oh, squint test never fails. Never fails.
It really is the best.
Or cross your eyes. You want to blur your vision. And if it feels like it works when you do that, go with it.
Yeah.
That's...
I don't know. With a grout color, that's impressive. I could see it. I feel like I could do that maybe with a fabric, but for a grout color...
I would cross my eyes.
Yeah.
And if it looked like it worked, I would go with it.
Yeah. My mom thinks I'm crazy when I do. I take my glasses off, so everything is blurry, and I'll just look at all my fabric. This is it.
That is
hilarious.
It's not very scientific.
Being blind actually
Take
helps.
your glasses off.
You know what? I have not tried that.
Because
I wear glasses.
Do it. Every time I make a quilt, when I get all my fabrics kind of pieced, laid out and everything, I take my glasses off, go to the other side of the room, and if there's like a spot that feels too saturated, I know I need to move that.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's great.
Wow.
I usually just cross my eyes with my glasses on, but no, just take the glass.
Yeah.
That is genius.
I do cross sometimes too. I get scared they're going to stay.
I'll
just take them off.
That's funny.
That's just what we tell our kids.
Yeah. That's why I get scared.
It's funny that we've been telling our kids that since
Yeah.
the begining of time, because
Right.
I remember
Forever.
hearing that.
Yeah.
You know, cross your eyes, are going to stay that way.
I'm 26 and I'm still scared.
So, see, I'm 44. So that lie has been told for many decades.
What's a color that you have never used but you would love to use?
Ooh. A color that I would love to use, but I've never used.
You use so many, it seems like.
Well, I use pink. I did that in To Live and Dine. It's fun doing those spaces, those To Live and Dine spaces, the show house spaces, because you really do get to
Go all
do what you
Yeah.
want. You know, you don't
Yeah.
really have boundaries outside of budget. And,
Mhm.
let me see. That's a great question. I've used a lot of color. I haven't done a lot of purple.
Mhm.
I do love chartreuse.
I love shirt. It's my new favorite. I like to wear it. I like to quilt with it. It's my favorite.
I haven't used that. I'm attracted to bold, bright colors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's like moth to a flame. That's
Yeah.
me, you know?
Yeah.
I do love a chartreuse.
See,
There you
Yes.
do it now.
That would be fun.
Morally obligated.
Yeah, or some form of yellow. I would love to do a yellow
Right.
room. I have not done
The
that.
full space.
Yeah, yellow is not like out in the design world much.
It's not. I've seen it
Yeah.
in show houses. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen it published
Right.
in some publications, but I have not had the opportunity. It's not a popular color.
Yeah.
Everybody wants
It's
blue.
not.
Everybody wants green.
Yeah.
When you ask them to
But
pick a
yellow's a
color,
great accent for blues. That's why it is sort of
It
weird.
really is that
Yeah.
goldenrod kind
Yeah.
of color. I love
It is.
Mhm.
I generally pull that in with brass, right, in finishes.
Yeah. The
Not
one.
so much
Yeah.
fabrics, but I think yellow is a scary color
Yeah.
for people.
We have a very
Yeah.
pretty yellow lampshade right now.
Yes.
Oh,
Lydia.
it's fantastic.
I
Yes.
love
So-
Lydia.
See, she knows the names.
Oh,
You just said it.
Oh,
She knows the
she
product.
knows
I
everything
know.
about it. She could tell us all the dimensions.
SKU number 093.
Yep.
Comes in 14, 16, 18.
That'd be
I love
fun.
a good Lydia.
And I mean, like, not just subtly use it. I mean, like,
Go
color
color it.
drench,
Mhm.
Color drench a room.
wall ceiling trim,
Yeah.
Right. I feel like
upholstery.
there's so many historical uses of a drenched yellow room.
Yes.
And it feels like it could go very sophisticated
It is.
if you design it the right way, because
Yeah.
otherwise it can go,
McDonald's.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the fear, is that it doesn't end up looking
Right.
fast.
But when you see it, at least for me, when I see it in a space, it's so joyful.
Mhm.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I can't help but smile.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My
Yeah.
room now is yellow. I made some drapery panels last year. It's yellow, this pretty pink, soft pink floral on it, but the base is a yellow, and I blush every time I walk into my room.
There is
That's how you
something
wanna
about
feel.
yellow drapes in particular that is
Ooh.
just like I feel like I've seen silk yellow drapes in several different rooms, and it's just like it's like sunshine coming
Yeah,
through the windows.
it really
It's-
is.
It
yeah.
really is.
That's exactly right. So
Yeah.
yellow would be fun.
Maybe it'll come back like in a big way.
Maybe in
I hope so.
season
Yeah.
2.
Ooh,
If there's
there
a
you go.
season 2, we're gonna manifest that, right?
All
Okay,
right.
let's do it.
We
Everybody
haven't
go
done
stream
yellow yet.
so that we can have a season 2.
There we
Go stream
go.
it.
So
Yeah.
Olivia can do a yellow room.
Oh, I
That'd
would
be
love
fun.
that.
That'd be awesome.
Do you find yourself using trends, or do you try to stay away from them?
It's a blend. Like I said, I always tell my clients, go with what you love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain trends, like in tile.
Mhm.
I would say more so in construction finishes
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
than anything.
That's a good one.
Warm wood cabinets are back when they were,
Yeah.
just out for a really long time. I remember we were just doing white
Yeah.
kitchens
Yeah.
for a long time in the
Right.
earlier mid 2000s, I would
Yeah.
say. Because when I first started in design in 2004, stained cabinets were everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
It was the sign you had money. If you
Right.
had stained cabinets, that was a luxury high-end
And
project.
then it moved to white cabinets.
Then it
and
moved to white.
probably more painted cabinets now.
Yeah, definitely painted.
Like
white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see more color,
Color drenching is
but we
really
see a lot of oak, white oak.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I think is still very
Mhm.
heavy out there. I see walnut making a comeback. So with construction finishes, I say, I do tend to lean on or lean into what's trending at the time to a certain extent.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to get away from it, I imagine, just because, like, they're driving the options in a way.
Right.
You know?
Right.
The
Like-
availability of what you can get at that time.
Yeah.
It's dependent on trends when it comes to that.
But I, like I said, when clients ask me, what's trendy? What should I do? I'm like, who cares? Who cares? What do you want to do? But it is fun. It is fun to take a design theme that is prevalent today and use it in a fun way. And, you know, you want to stay fresh and relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put your spin on it.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes they're just
put
fun.
your own
Yeah.
spin on it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Kind of use it as a foundation, but
A starting point.
like I saw Glass Block is trying to make a comeback.
Oh.
Yes, are you excited? I'm mortified.
You are. Okay. All right. Talk to us about it, Nakyrna.
Yeah,
Excited.
please.
Okay,
It's just
explain.
I just love it. You know, I've always been a big fan of just stained glass and how that sort of just looks to me. It's always been timeless. But then as I've kind of seen those little glass blocks, the different shapes that you can do with it, the different colors that you can do with it, and the different applications. It can be on a lamp. It can be on a chandelier. It can be on a room divider. The options are endless. And that is what gets me going, is when you can take this one thing and turn it into thousands of other things. That's a trend. If that's a trend.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see that. And I'm with you on that. But you said 20?
I am 26.
Right. Okay, so you didn't live through the 80s.
I did not.
Yeah.
With all the terrible glass block windows and glass block partitions.
Yeah.
It just it makes me think of mullets and just
There's
really
my
bad
heart.
Mullets are back too, you know.
montages.
Or you know, like an episode of like Moonlighting or something
Miami
like that, where
Vice.
it's just like some really kind of kitschy 80s modern, or like twist on a faux modern. Like it's just
I have a hard time getting behind that one.
But
I did see an installation of shocker, pink glass block installed, and it had a
interesting.
circular design pattern to it. And I was like, okay,
okay.
I could maybe, possibly.
I feel like that, just talking about this in general, that's the role of like my generation. I'm an old Gen Z, so not quite millennial. I don't want to claim millennials.
Mature.
I'm
Mature Gen Z.
I'm like the first year of
And
Gen
it's like,
Z.
watch yourself.
But I feel like
Battle of the generations.
That's what we do. We see, you know, old trends or just see what people used to do just in general. And we immediately think of how to reuse it, how to make it a little different. Or I think the biggest thing that I hope we continue doing is figuring out how to mix different generations together, right? So you can put, you know, combine your 80s with your 70s, or take your, you know, 70s designs and make it modern. Even I feel like a lot of show houses now are doing that, where they take, you know, an antique piece of furniture, put a modern chandelier over it.
Yeah.
And that contrast is just so rich and deep and so beautiful. So I'm hoping, I'm crossing my fingers that my people will continue to
Well,
do
you know,
that.
I think every generation does that.
Yeah.
You know, have y'all ever seen Midnight in Paris with
Yes.
Owen Wilson?
Yes.
And it's all about how he romanticized. It's such a good movie, right? But he romanticized the past, and he gets in his carriage and he gets to go back to the Roaring 20s, I think it was.
Right.
And then all these characters from that period of time. Who was there? Was it like Hemingway?
Hemingway,
I don't want to say too many names because I'll most likely be in the wrong era.
Fitzgerald, right? I feel like
Yes.
Gatsby,
So he's having conversations with them, and they're talking about how the period before them was the golden period, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where you are now, where you're like, you know, my generation and the glass block, and it's just amazing. But we lived through it. So for us, we're like,
We
never
did.
done that.
We did.
You know, give me some 70s. Like 70s was a cool time.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know,
that's
but
true.
everything's cyclical. And I think every
always
generation
is.
does romanticize the past, maybe an era that they didn't necessarily live in, that they find really cool elements about. And kind of brings me back to the show, because there's a lot of nostalgia in the show too. And
I'm still dreaming about that Victorian house. Still.
right. And with that turquoise chandelier and all. I just think that's human That's human nature, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
But there are great things from previous generations.
yeah,
absolutely.
Design generations, I guess. So
And
it's
to
fun
see how
like,
it gets reimagined
completely
is fun. I agree
different
with you on that.
materials.
Yeah.
because there was definitely a period where I would have thought, or I thought that mid-century modern was like, you picture like certain TV shows and movies and like that 70s show or something, and you're just like, I don't know. But then seeing it used now, it starts to make sense. And you're like, oh, okay, I appreciate the sleekness. I like the walnut, that kind of thing.
Right.
And so
but when it's mixed in with something
once
else,
you
so
sort
it's
of
not
detach
so
it a
period.
little bit
Right.
from the period,
Yeah.
it's easier to find what you love about it, I think.
Yeah. Well, Nakyrna,
I haven't seen the
love your
glass blocks
enthusiasm.
well, but yeah.
I love your enthusiasm, and I'm not going to say no to it because as soon as I say a hard no to anything, it creeps in,
Yeah.
and then I end up loving it.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying no.
You have to just love everything by default first.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
You just, even if you don't, if your gut reaction is, oh my gosh, what is this? Just say you haven't seen the right version of it yet.
Just be open to it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
what
The
you're saying.
mullet's still a
Just be
no
open.
for me.
Yeah, I got
I mean,
guys.
just call it something new. It's the wolf cut. It's fine. It's fine.
like let's rebrand it.
Yeah.
It's all semantics.
A new name.
All marketing, you
Yeah.
know?
What about when you're painting? Are you working on any art projects right now?
Oh, I'm not. I want to so badly. I've just been so busy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the hard part, right? It's and that's sort of what happened. I loved creating art when I was younger. Did a lot of it. I was on yearbook staff. I was creating all the posters. This was before Instagram, when you can advertise things at school. You have to create posters
Really?
and put them up around the school so people could know what was going on. And then, in college, I did a lot of art because that was part of my curriculum. I had to take art classes. But then you get out into the world and you get a job and you're paying bills and doing adult things, and the things that you loved doing when you were a child just sort of fall by the wayside because it doesn't pay the bills. And then something happens that gets you connected back to that first love, and it reignites that in you. You're like, oh my God,
Completely.
how did I lose this? How could I not do this every day?
Yeah.
Completely.
And you get really excited and you go to Blick. When I say you, I'm talking about me. You go to Blick's and you spend hundreds of dollars on art supplies.
Oh my gosh.
I'm there. I'm right next to you.
And you
I am
have
right next to you in this
ideas.
whole thing. Yeah.
And you write them down and they collect dust.
Yeah.
Because you get back to that adult life and doing the things that pays the bills. And, so that's a long answer. That's my long way of saying no.
Yeah.
I'm not working on anything right now, but I plan to.
Yeah. Great.
Yes.
Set the intention and you'll get there.
Well, it's what truly makes me happy. Design is great, but I do design for other people. Creating art is what I do for myself. And that's how I connect back to myself.
Which just ends up fueling everything else you do in every other part of your life.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It ignites that creative spark. So thank you for bringing that up. That was a great reminder that I need to get on it.
All right.
Well, I was just thinking.
Weekend is here.
I need
Do
to
it.
get on it.
When we spoke last, you had shown me a picture of a portrait of your daughter that you did that I just thought was really beautiful. And so that was reminding me of it when you were talking about your nails. So.
I have some things that I would like to do. I've got to carve out the time. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You have to make the time to do it.
Yeah.
What do you have going on that you haven't done yet? You said you had some projects, or you knew what I was talking about?
Oh, well, I've got a studio down in my basement. So making art and kind of getting into that space, but prioritizing that is really challenging.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. But you just have to say, listen, for me, it's my family, right? Because on weekends, it's family time.
Right.
And my husband and my kids, we love doing things together. But it's saying, hey, guys, I need a few hours. Mommy time.
Yeah. You have to fill your tank.
Yeah.
So like my studio's upstairs, so I can go upstairs and fill my tank.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the fun things I always tell people. I don't plan on right now ever getting married, having children, because my entire life is kind of revolving around what can I make today? What can I quilt today? What pattern can I buy today off Etsy, And I can't imagine not having that time. I start to get itchy,
Yeah.
actually, and my mental just slowly deteriorates when I've gone days or, without. So I need to take my sewing machine actually to get serviced. I don't want to do it because I have to leave my machine at the shop for a week while they service it. And I can't be away from her for that long. So I'm like, I completely once you stop your, passion, it's really hard to get back into it just because life. Life's.
You're going to have to knit that week or do something
know,
totally different with your hands.
Yeah. Like, do I need to cook or do I need to sew? I need to sew.
Yeah. Well, but do you have you gone through different sort of creative interests? Like I don't know about y'all. I feel like I will channel it into different things for a while. Like for a year or two, maybe it's like just decorating my house. And then maybe it's like I was really like doing paper for a while or now I'm into needle pointing. So like it can kind of ebb and flow a little bit, I think. But I don't, that's what it is for me. So I don't know if you've ever felt that before.
1,000%. And whenever I get interested in something, I go all out.
Yeah.
I'm at every craft store you can think of and I'm buying all the materials to just even start to do anything. I'm recently into jewelry making. That's my new kind of fun thing. But anything that revolves around just making something with your hands, that's it. I will do anything if I can make it with my hands.
Yeah. And I get what you say. I get itchy. Like I literally feel like I want to I get restless, especially my hands get really restless because I feel like I have to make something.
You have to create something.
Do you have any other like things like cooking or maybe it's, I don't know. I'm sure your business is a way to channel that as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in my business is where I do most of it. I enjoy cooking when I can get around to it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it just feels like a chore, unfortunately.
I get it.
Well, when you're feeding, two kids, yourself,
right. And then of course, the dog and all of that good stuff. Right now, it's just painting. It's just painting.
Do you always go back to painting? Like
I do.
Even if you try something else?
It's painting or sketching. I have to feel the pen or the brush on the canvas or the paper. Is something about that feeling. And watching something go from nothing to then this image or this thing on paper, the creation of it all is what's exciting for me.
Well, I would think drawing seems so much easier in a way than painting because you can pick it up and put it down. Whereas I feel like paint, well, my assumption would be you need a block of time, right? Because once you get all your paints out and you have to clean them up and put them away, like it's not something you could pick up for 5 minutes.
It's like starting a cold car that's been sitting under your driveway for a really long time, acrylics for sure because they dry so fast. I'm teaching myself how to oil paint now because that'll extend the life and at least I can put it down for a few days and come back to it. That's slow going. So I'm going to get to that.
Well, I've started needle pointing, and that is great, I think, for parents because you can do it for 5 minutes. You could do it for 2 hours, but like it's easy to pick up and put away. I could do it in the car while we're driving on a road trip. So
is it like it's like the wooden ring with
that's cross stitch, I believe.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's kind of paint by numbers, but you're filling in the color with thread instead of like your
I feel like I used to watch my grandmother do that.
Yes.
In her recliner.
Yeah.
And she would just sit there and watch The Price is Right.
Yep.
It's the best thing ever.
It's very like repetitive, and so you can kind of turn your brain off, which is nice.
It's all a meditation.
Yeah.
I think any form of creativity is all a meditation. And you can just get lost in it. When I created that piece for with my daughter for the show house, I would be up in that studio for hours, not eating.
Nothing.
You don't need 7 hours will go by. The sun is set. When did it turn night?
It's like a trance, but it's the best trance you could ever be in.
To just be fully engulfed in something, which is not what we normally do in life, right? Our presence is taken away. It's hijacked by so many different things these days. Social media.
A lot of noise.
A lot of noise. And to be able to have, that's what it is. It's like that quiet space that you retreat into and nothing else in the world exists but what you're creating at that point in time. There's just something so powerful about that.
Do you ever have that with your girls, or do they have that creative spirit that you?
They do. Both of them do. My oldest, she loves to draw. She's actually very talented. She loves anime. So it's funny to see her stress out. She's 11.
Yeah.
And she's 11 and she stresses out. She goes, I just haven't found my art style yet.
Oh my Lord.
Let it come.
Honey.
I love it.
You don't need that.
You've only been on Earth for 11 years. You've only been drawing for maybe 6 of those. Like, what are we talking about here? I get so frustrated. I don't have my style yet.
Oh my gosh.
So I just tell her,
that is so wholesome and adorable.
And I'm like, oh, please don't stress yourself out about it.
Yeah.
Enjoy
that
it.
is good is not what you get anxiety about.
Yeah.
Like she's about to start selling it tomorrow or something, and she has to. I know, it's funny, and I'm like, honey, don't worry about that. Just enjoy what you're doing and practice and play with a lot of different things, and it'll evolve over time. I took them to see the Van Gogh exhibit.
Yeah.
There's that immersive Van Gogh exhibit. Yeah. And it talks about his path. From about being an artist and how he came to be an artist, and how even Japanese artwork truly inspired what he did. And so I showed her, hey, look, this is the evolution of his artwork. He didn't necessarily know his style.
Yeah.
Right.
In the beginning, he had to come into it. So just relax, kid.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Yeah. I feel like that conversation always, or at least is similar to what we were talking about earlier, of just like following trends or just seeing what everyone else is doing. And you're like, oh, I want to do exactly what they're doing because that's perfect. But not realizing, no, find your own voice.
Yeah.
You're gonna drop things, you're gonna mess up, you're not gonna be perfect. But once you get there, once you continue through, it's perfect. And it's beautiful.
You got to do what's true to you. That's the word of right now is authenticity, right?
Yeah, completely.
I feel like that word has lost a little bit of its value because it's so overused, but that's really what it's all about.
Really?
We're all here to have our own journey, our own experience that is true to who we are, true to our gifts. I can't live your life. Your life is already taken. I can't travel your road.
Yeah.
I've got to travel mine.
Yeah.
So, to see people lean into that, I try to preach that to my kids as much as I possibly can.
Completely.
Your art style will come, and it'll be yours.
It'll be no one else's.
Nobody else
do what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, I feel like the show, too, was really tuned in to the heart and that authenticity of each of the families. So,
Really?
Yeah.
It's a good theme to end on.
Really?
Yeah. Well, Olivia, thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell everyone where they can watch the show, where they can find you?
Yes, of course.
Let's
see. Everywhere now. I'm all over the place. On Instagram at Olivia Westbrooks Interiors. The website is oliviawestbrooks.com. And the show streams on Hallmark Plus. So it's not on cable. I've had a few people say to me, I don't have cable. I'm like, well, great. You don't need it.
I have
You can get it on your phone, your laptop, your iPad, your TV, all the devices.
And the show is called Home is Where the Heart Is.
Home is Where the Heart Is on Hallmark Plus. All the episodes have aired now, so you can watch all 6 episodes.
Bingeable.
You can download it for free right now for a week and watch all the episodes, so there are no excuses. And it's really just a fun, joy-filled show. You're going to cry.
Yeah.
I lived through it.
Times.
I knew what was coming, and I still cried watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't wear makeup while you're watching.
Right.
At all.
I know.
Waterproof mascara.
Yes. Bear everything.
Yes. Well, I thank y'all for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, please come back anytime.
So much.
I would love to.
And that's our show. You can find all of the show notes on our blog, howtodecorate.com/podcast.
To send in a decorating dilemma, email your questions to podcast@ballarddesigns.net so we can help you with your space.
And of course, be sure to follow us on social media at Ballard Designs.
Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a review. We'd love to hear your feedback.
Until next time, happy
Happy decorating.
decorating.